All right. This is Patrick from the Work Sub team. Today we're going to cover some of the options from the mobile capabilities for the Work Sub CMMS software solution. So I'm logged in as sort of a lead or a technician. You can see some different menu items through the center there. Let's go through a few of these options here. So if I wanted to go to an assigned work order and maybe change some of the assignments, change some of the assets, I would go into this incomplete work order section in the center. When we open that up, it will display all the open work that's out there for the whole team. So I'm going to click onto one of these right here. This is assigned to Peyton Manning, not myself. If I was to click on the work order right here, it will open up that job. And if I wanted to do something like change who it's assigned to, I would scroll down a little bit further here. And where it says Peyton Manning assigned, I'm going to click on that panel and it will give me the option to assign someone else to it. So if you were to click on another user, it will drop a checkbox on that user. And if I wanted to remove the initial person, I could click here to remove them as well. And I'm going to click done at this point, and that will assign another user to the job. If I wanted to change, like if there was an asset assigned to this and I wanted to change that, we can see right here where it says HOS Air Handler 009 linked. So it tells me there's an asset already assigned, but if I were to click on it here, it will give me the option to remove this by clicking the unlink option here. And then if I wanted to assign a new asset, um, I would either look for other assets in this location because it's already defaulted to, I think, room 209. But if I selected in any location and then click in that search bar right there, you could type in a keyword like air handling unit or a serial number or what have you. So if I typed in AHU, it will go and find some other assets to assign to it. And all I've got to do is click the link action on any one of these assets to link a different asset. And then we would click done in the upper right corner to finalize that motion. And we're good to go. If I wanted to actually start running time against this work order, there is an action here saying enter labor time. So if I clicked on that second panel for enter labor time, it's going to give me the option to start running a timer against this. So I'm going to tap that green button, and now my time is running against that job, and off we go. Now I can enter notes at this point, but I find that it would make sense once I basically close this work order out to add notes. So I'm going to circle back to that here at the end. If I wanted to, and I'm going to hit the back button to bring us to the menu again. If I wanted to um, add something like filters to this job, we would go in and assign the inventory because the filters in the system will have a cost applied to them already. So if I clicked assign inventory and I went through and I said, all right, I want to add something like filters, I would type that in. You see there's a scan barcode, but for ease of just adding something right now, I'm going to go through and just click one of these filters when I find the right size, just by tapping on it once. And then you would click done in the upper right corner. And then you will see that now there is a filter added to it in the system. And again, behind the scenes, we have a cost set up for this filter already, so I would not have to manually input it here. And then we'll just click done to update that. And now we've assigned a filter to the work order. If I wanted to attach a photograph or something of the like, if we were still looking at this work order menu, there should be an option that says attachments, that second one from the bottom. If you tap that once, it'll give you a quick menu and the option to take a new photo or add one from the library. For this, I'm just going to do take photo. And what it should do is verify you want to open the camera, at which point we can click that photo button at the bottom. It will then freeze on that. I'm going to click Use Photo at the bottom right, and that is going to attach that work order. All right. I'm going to click Done in the upper right corner to finalize the attachment. Now it tells me that the image has been uploaded. I'm going to hit back in the upper left corner, and that should take me back to that menu. And I can see that one in parentheses telling me that there is one attachment. That's the photo that we just did. If I wanted to go back and revisit anything on the labor, again, we can still see that my labor time is running. If I tap that banner again, it's going to just tell me I've run this up for a couple of minutes. If I wanted to post manual labor to this, you can tap into one of those boxes here and say I just wanted to add manually 1 hour. I would go to the keys and just type in a 1. I'm going to click Done to close that keyboard. And then if I click Done in the upper right corner, it will post that 1 hour of labor for me right then and there. Okay. Now to close this out, I'm going to back it up here. And then I'm going to see an option to change the status. Right now it's in progress, but if you wanted to stop the timer, close this out, tap on that status in progress bar right there. And then you can go up and change the status. I'm going to change this to complete. And then it tells me I've ran the timer against this. And then this is where I would actually go through and add notes. So where you can say completion notes, just tap into that box once. You can type in these notes. Or if you can see there's a microphone icon at the bottom right, you could talk into the device and it should fill out the notes for you. Again, click Done here to close out the keyboard panel, and then click Done in the upper right corner. It will confirm that you want to consume that inventory. So I'm going to say yes, consume the remaining items and complete. Should be good to go. And then you'll hit back to bring us back to the home screen. Okay. So that was some of the navigation if we had an existing work order. If we wanted to find a pending job, something that has not been assigned to a user yet, that pending request item that you can see here is where we would see any jobs that have not been assigned. So if you want to experiment with finding your own request and assigning it, tap here. In this case, it shows me a pending request, and I can now tap that once. And if in many cases you wanted to just assign that to yourself, you're going to click on this Accept and Assign Me button here. It will kind of review the overall ticket for you. And the only thing you really have to do is click the Save button. That's just verifying that you do want to put it into your queue. And then we would click Done in the upper right corner to finalize it. And that now, if I was to back up, there's no longer any pending requests. So effectively, it's been turned into a work order. And if I tapped onto just my work, it's going to show me that job I just assigned to myself. And then we could, again, you can click into these and go through those actions of starting your time, changing the asset, things of that nature. Okay. If I wanted to navigate to an asset in the solution, best way I would recommend it is having barcodes on assets. It's a great way to go specific to that asset and pull up the history of it. So if you can see where it says tap to scan, I would go to that item, tap it once. It's just going to verify that you are allowing it to use the camera. Once we have that, your camera should pop up, and then we can go to the barcode in question, scan that item, and then it should show you the asset display, at which point, if we wanted to view history, you can tap again on the last 5 completed work orders, and then it'll show you some of the previous history here. And if I wanted to view one of those work orders, again, we can tap into these to get more information. Shows me I can tap into here to see the task list. You can see any completion notes right there in the body. If there was any images, those would be attached here as well. So all that information is viewable from previous work orders. And I'm just going to hit back to bring us back to that asset screen. And if I wanted to do anything else, like add a work order or anything else, I could do so right here. If I just was walking around with my device and I wanted to create a work order from scratch, there's going to be an option here that says add new work order, at which point we can tap that add new work order. And it's going to give me a pretty blank panel. There are going to be some required fields here. You can usually see those with the asterisks, just telling you that it's required. But we'll go through these in quick order. If we tap that location bar, it's going to have a search panel here. We tap into that. All you need is like essentially a room number or a department, and the system will start to look for any matches. So I'm going to just type in room 202. Once you see that, it will list any options. It just went and found this one. So I'm going to click that little radial button and then click done. And that will define the location for this work order. In here, I'm just going to do a brief description and say something like stained ceiling tile. And then I'm going to click done. And then going to go through some of these. Priority, we're going to tap that. And it's going to give me some options. I'm going to list this as high just by tapping there. Source of work most commonly is who's sort of reporting the work or what's the origination point, right? So I'm going to say this was, you know, non-medical staff. Just pick one of those. It's going to help for reporting purposes. Category, again, we can tap into that. It'll give you a list of some categories here. I'll pick interior components. Subcategory, we'll say this has something to do with the ceiling. Due date filled because I picked a priority. So that should be most all of the required fields here. So we're going to click the save button there, right side, middle up. All right, so I've saved the work order. And then let's see here. I'm going to click done in the upper right corner. So it saves my progress. And then the work order for this one is 33351. Now, I could go through and just assign it to myself right here now. You can see that little panel that says assign someone. If we tapped into that and I found my name, I could just assign it to myself right now. But if I wanted to, for just argument's sake, view all the open jobs and go and find that again, here it is right here, 33351. You'll see there's no labor assigned, but I could easily go in, tap into that work order from the master list, and then I'm back to that place where I can just go through and assign someone. So I'm going to tap that. It'll give us a list of the team, and I find myself Billy right in the middle, and I can tap this, click down in the upper right corner, and now you can see Billy Churchill is assigned. So I've effectively created the work order. I went and found it, assigned myself, and now I can go through, again, post labor, either through manual entry or through the timer. Okay. And once we've posted some labor, then we can go through and close this out. Now, we did the closeout before where we changed the status from in progress to complete. All right, and we can go through and enter in any notes. and then we'll hit done in the upper right corner. So those are some of the functions on the mobile. There's plenty more in there, but hopefully that feels like easy enough to do and execute when you're out in the field.